we
All
call
right.
this budget meeting to order?
I have in front of you, gentlemen, the financial worksheets you'll see there. It has the final budget figures on it. Revenue is pretty much the same as last year. The couple of highlights on here. We've got a comfortable rollover in the, looking forward to a comfortable rollover in the road and bridge fund, 2031, but we're starting to eat into our cash reserves. So those rollover numbers are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. In the fire levy fund, Chief and I went over that earlier today. That is getting very tight, that fund. And trying to find room to pare things down is becoming more and more difficult to avoid having I guess a deficit in that fund. So something just to keep in mind. You can see at the end of next year, we're calculating only $6,563 of rollover in that fund. And that's the little bit of buffer that we have. We have, this year we've got a transfer in of money that's coming out of debt service, money that has been sitting there that I tried last year to get the process going with our new prosecutor, and things didn't work out, but this year we want to get that transferred over. There's about, well, should be 86,000 in debt service that should go back into the fire department. And then money, some other funds would be transferred over. And then the next year, 2021, I have money coming out of the general fund there to cover a couple of items on the expenditures for the fire department. Not that we may not have to do that.
What kind of items are those?
I was looking at if we would cover the property insurance. And let's see, this property insurance. And I believe it was property insurance and tax, part of the tax collection fees. The auditor charges us $30,000 to collect taxes for the fire levy. Everything else is, well, we have a new fund, the permissive motor vehicle license tax fund.
Let me go back to just,
Yeah.
if you're wrapping up the fire levy, that probably is other in administrative, other total. Is that what that line item is? It's like 31,000.
Yeah.
36,000.
Yeah, it's gonna be in that area.
And that should be in just about every fund, right?
So did you do road and bridge with the levy or without it, Fred?
With it.
With it. It's like you get a whiff of.
Mhm. Yep. Another point too is that the auditor requested that we use they give us a scale of 100% collection, 98% collection, 95% collection. They told us to use the 95% collection because there's concerns over the whole COVID-19
I think those are valid
situation
concerns.
and some of the other things that we may be collecting less. I'm not, I don't know how much that's really going to affect us since, you know, we're looking at collecting on property taxes and
If I claim COVID, I already paid them, but will
maybe
they
we
give
get
me
a
some money
rebate.
back?
And I don't know if, you know, I don't know if there's gonna be more foreclosures or what might happen, but I used their suggestion, I used the 95% numbers. So the revenue could be higher, a little bit higher on all of these funds.
95 is what they pretty much consider a minimum.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd recall ever 95%.
We always use 98.
Yeah. Well,
The the land improvement, property acquisition and improvement fund, I'm calculating that we're going to spend pretty much everything that's in there this year. Primarily on the gazebo project, and that's only 45,000. We still usually bring in $20,000 to $25,000 in that fund with the franchise fees.
see the motor vehicle is way down. License tax.
Yeah.
I passed the page, but what's the gas tax, is that adjusted down?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
I used to bring in $65,000.
right. So looking at the revenue on that. Yeah, because we had to, it's bringing in about 18,000 now. We may hit that 21,000 mark, 21 to 22. It's from 2019, that's an actual number. But with everything, they just suggested bringing the revenue down a little bit, so.
Gas tax is down about 50,000.
Yeah.
Gas tax would be, oh, yeah, I'm looking at 22. Yeah, so, again, we may come up closer to that amount. So the 133, we may hit closer to that, but again, we're trying to adjust down just to make sure. And the same with the motor vehicle license tax fund. Those funds, we've always been pretty well covered between those and what we have in road and bridge for operating supplies or contracted services.
Yeah, I mean, it all goes into the same pot, which is spent on roads and road maintenance and
Right.
road employees, and you lose $50,000 in gas tax, that's basically an employee.
Right.
Yeah. Not that we're gonna lose an employee over this or
Well-
that, but
Yeah.
it's that amount.
The, let's see, 2041 cemetery fund. You know, we must have had about a 50% drop in deaths in 2019 because we had about $4,000 less coming into that fund.
I think there's more cremation, so it's really the big
Yeah,
difference.
I think that's part of it. So we're really looking at only about $5,000 worth of income.
Yeah, right, but we run that, Fred, is nonprofit, really, the cemetery, I mean, we've got guys doing overtime on this too, so.
Oh, yeah.
There's no real income to that, that's just,
I
you
mean,
wanna
in-
cover your costs, is all you're trying to do there.
Right. And their pay comes out of the general fund, so.
Maybe this, we get some additional funds in there for straightening some of the stones.
I'd like to, yeah, that's on my agenda is to,
Especially
we've
with
got-
the weather's been with torrential rain and then drought and torrential rain.
But we actually have one stone in there, and not to get off of your time here, Fred, but we've reset the thing 3 times. Somebody's knocking it over.
Really?
Yeah, it's a good sized stone. It's,
In Shady Side?
yeah, it's Mr., what's the guy that was the brother-in-law, Sam? He was a great big guy. It's on the tip of my tongue.
not at
Can you?
Toes.
No. His wife was Sam's sister.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ralph,
Huh?
Ralph Grant?
Right. Ralph. Anyway, somebody's knocked that over 3 times in the last 3 months.
Interesting.
So if we get your ear to the street, but it's a good sized stone. Sorry, Fred.
It's all right, we're looking at $15,000 at the end of the year left in that fund, so there is some money in there to do some of that.
You know, we budgeted money.
Yeah, we were trying to look
And
at
they
initially
never,
like about
those guys
5,000 a
never
year.
did it, yeah, they just were too busy, that's what they said, so.
Our debt service fund is what it is, and what we bring in, we send back out. And that comes right off the top of, when you're looking at these numbers for revenue on like the road and bridge fund and the fire fund, if you look at the revenue that's coming in, that debt money is taken right off the top of that. So there's, there may be an additional 100 and some thousand coming into that fund, but they just take it right out and put it in the debt service fund that way.
John, when you started, I know, because that was true when I started, that's how it was done. That's how the auditor did it. They set up a debt
Yeah.
service fund.
Yeah.
And then there was about a 10-year period
They
in
didn't.
the middle, they stopped doing that.
But I think the law is actually that you're supposed to do it.
It makes sense to do it.
It does, right,
You've already
absolutely.
committed that money.
Right.
I could never understand, when Denny was.
Right.
They
Well, the nice
I
thing
think it
is
comes from the
that
auditor's office, doesn't that recommendation? I don't know.
when, I think before I started, the debt service money wasn't being taken out
Yeah.
off the top and put into the debt service fund. So,
I don't think that was Susan's or Denny's choice
Right.
to do that. I think they were directed
It came
to
from
do
the
that
county.
from the county.
yeah.
I don't know why.
Well, because it was, all the fiscal officers were complaining because it's very difficult to calculate stuff when it's going right into the debt service fund. It makes it, it's two more lines of math that you have to do. So, but what's nice is that it gets taken out right away and you know what you're dealing with.
Yeah, you've already committed to spending that.
Exactly.
So it's not available.
Mhm.
So it shouldn't be available.
And we've got, we have two, well, I call them mortgage payments, but for payments on, one on the garage and one on the fire department building. And then we've got one truck,
Truck, yeah.
and the other truck we're paying for cash.
Right.
So nothing's gonna change on that from last year, that's gonna be the same, should be the same for about the next 4 or 5 years. So that's all I've got.
Is there any, you guys have any other questions for Fred, or you wanna,
No, I think he's, as it turned out this year, the project is the gym's working on it. It's at the park, and just the way as long as money's there to do that one thing. And some, like Mike was just saying, some cemetery work, and hopefully in the fall, if we can find a contractor that can get to it.
yeah.
It's kind of the way the year is,
Mm-hmm.
so.
Okay, we got a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt your 2020 budget.
I'll second.
That's a second. Motion and a second.
Okay. When you do this as a resolution. So resolution 2020-15, adopting the budget of Auburn Township for fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2021. The Board of Trustees of Auburn Township, Geauga County, Ohio met in regular meeting on the 6th day of July 2020. And be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Auburn Township, Geauga County, Ohio, that the following township budget for fiscal year 2021 is hereby adopted as shown on Schedule A attached here to and made a part of. And that will be the worksheets that you are looking at as Schedule A.
Okay, I made the motion to adopt.
And then,
Second.
Second.
okay, Mike,
Yes.
EJ,
Yes.
John?
Yes.
All right.
Ready to rock and roll?
Ready to go?
Okay,
Fred, do you have warrants to sign?